Hey guys, and welcome to progression log 3 of Feed the Beast Ocean Block 2. I was actually sort of expecting this one to be the last one, uh, but probably not. I think the next one might be the last one. It depends on how much stuff and how much we play over the next week. I don't have too much stuff to do, unfortunately. I had a wrist injury the last couple of days. I've been writing a lot, and it finally all caught up to me. Over the last 3, 4 months, I've written about 160,000 words or so it finally caught up to me. I actually bought an Ergo keyboard, a Kinesis Advantage 2, for 450 bucks. And I just got here and I'm relearning how to type. I've switched to my normal keyboard for this video, but I probably won't be able to play as much as I'd like because I do have to relearn how to type on that keyboard. Um, anyway, not too much stuff has been done, at least up here. I have the starting to work on some on-demand stuff, as well as starting to make this area a little bit nicer. I hate how scuffed this area is. I do want it to look a little bit nicer than it actually does right now. But that's something to worry about for another time. As We've gotten a lot of other stuff done, fortunately. My brother's been very productive, which has been very nice. Over here, he set up an automated empower for Restonia crystal blocks, as we will need that for one of the last things we need to start pumping out rift attenuation crystals as fast as we want, is an overcharged crystal. And there's an expensive way to make this and a cheap way to make this. And I know last video I was kind of ragging on Oritek for being super scuffed. I take most of it back. The particle accelerator is super cool. Unfortunately, it's not quite done as we are in the process of rebuilding it. And by we, I mean my brother. He totally tore the old ring down and rebuilt it from scratch pretty much. And it looks fantastic. I think he did an amazing job with it. I helped... Oh, crap. There we go. Jesus Christ. I helped redesign the actual particle ring itself. I actually designed this part, but the shell around it was all him. And it looks amazing. I think it's fantastic. Um, so for particle accelerators are really interesting, and that it's probably the most interesting production mechanic I've seen in a Minecraft mod ever. Um, Unfortunately, oh my god, it's not functional right now. I did do some basic testing and some design for the old version, so I do have the ability to I know what to do to actually build a working one. But in order to actually make a working particle accelerator, you sort of need to have two of them. You need to have a smaller ring and a larger ring. I think you could get just a larger ring to work for all speeds, but it'd be really you'd have to spam the hell out of guide rings, and I think a far more interesting method is to use two rings. So when particles accelerate, yeah, let me pull up a guide ring, I guess. When particles accelerate around, a ring or whatever, as they speed up, so when they're slower, they require guide rings to be closer together and they can make tighter turns. However, the faster and faster they get, guide rings can be farther apart, but turns also have to be larger. If they're too small, like this, when it's too fast, it'll sling off, and depending on your settings, it'll punch holes in your world. I think those settings are off because I slung a bunch of particles off while designing it, and I didn't punch any holes or anything, fortunately. So, yeah. But anyway, so, they'll sling off if they're going too fast and the ring is too small. So basically, you have to speed up in a smaller ring, and then at certain collisions, you have to jump the faster particle into a larger ring, and that's what this one is for. This area over here is sort of where the control/smaller ring will be, and once it gets fast enough to be in the larger ring, it'll flick over, be in the larger ring, and then we'll introduce a slower particle in order to actually do the collision. Because as you guys saw, an overcharged crystal needs 1,000 joules of energy, which means they need to have 1,000 meters of relative velocity. So basically, if one of these items is at 1,000 meters per second worth of velocity, and the other one is at 0, that's good enough. So the idea is you make one particle really, really fast, and then introduce a slow particle. So that would be the idea: is we use the small ring to accelerate one particle to the velocity it needs to be for the crafting, so it would be around 1,000 meters per second, and then we'd introduce the second particle, which would be really slow, going the opposite direction, and then they'd collide and we'd get our item. So it's very, very interesting, and you can all be done with redstone control. Originally, I was thinking about using some of the logic unit at first, maybe from immersive engineering. That really wasn't necessary. Right now, we're basically. I also actually wanted to use a redstone probe. Um, and the redstone probe would have been really cool if it had gotten if it would have worked. It's supposed to be a redstone comparator uh, in behavior, but I think it only works as a redstone comparator on immersive engineering multi-blocks. I don't think it just counts as a redstone, or I don't think it counts as with comparator behavior if you put it up against, like, say, a speed sensor, because in order to test how fast something is, where are you? Yes, here we go. You have the particle accelerator sensor, and the particle accelerator sensor just tells you how fast it is. It also tells you, so as a comparator, it tells you how fast the particle that passes through it is, as well as when a particle passes through it. Um, so like when you have an accelerator on it, you'll get a redstone pulse at the signal. You'll have a redstone pulse when the particle passes through the sensor, and in comparator mode, it'll tell you how fast it is based on the signal strength. Um, that actually had some really interesting effects, as because you only get a pulse when the particle is traveling through it, in order to make sure it doesn't flick back to the smaller ring. um, Hopefully next video I'll actually have the system built out, so it's kind of hard to describe. You have to use a state cell, basically. That's the design. It uses a state cell from immersive engineering, which will hold a redstone signal until it's reset. It's just a regular memory system, a memory cell, and it's very useful. So that's what we'll be doing. We'll also be using one of these things from Redstone Pen. This is basically just a very simple programmable text editor, and all this does is it's basically just checking to see the speed level of the particle, so it knows when to flick it over to the large one. This is doable with just vanilla redstone by making like an AND gate and then testing against a signal strength of 7. But this is in a single block and it's very clean rather than having some other weird stuff. So, um, we could also probably use a logic unit, but this is just easier. So, very easy to use. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the particle accelerator. Hopefully it'll be done. And speaking of the particle accelerator, continuing to speak on it anyway, this is sort of the last major thing we have to do before, at least in terms of automation, before we start just farming rifts for stuff. As in, we have pretty much everything else that we would need on passive. We have a pretty big molecular assembler wall. Forge TPS. Weird. I don't know, the forge command doesn't work. It's possible there's some TPS issues, but I don't know. I'd have to pull up the console. My brother has actually it's my brother has shit ping. you, Anyway, so continuing on, we actually are pretty good on power. We actually ended up connecting the rest of the generators, all 6 of them. Though we only really run on one, and then every now and then we turn on the second one. Um, we never really needed all that much power, so we probably really won't continue on too much. This farm over here got swapped from charged Certus quartz into fluxite, as one of the items that we would need for said overcharge crystal here is fluxite, as well as the Restonia crystal block. So we just put these in the particle accelerator, like I mentioned before. So that'll be really fun when it's done, and that's the last major thing. Technically, you need pneumatic craft to progress, but once you have it done, you don't actually need pneumatic craft anymore at a certain point. So we don't actually have to set that up again, which is really nice because I fucking hate pneumatic craft. I think it's just really not that fun. Um, I had to use it a couple of times, I think in ATM6, and I just did not enjoy it. I think it's just not a fun mod to use. Um, it's just really weird, and I just don't like it. Simple as. Um, anyway, uh, yeah, his ping's gotten better. There hasn't been too much stuff over here. I actually rebuilt these plates. I need to add these. Actually, I think this was last time, wasn't it? Yes, this was last time. We added a few more things on replicate over here. The farm is still running. I'm actually curious how much stuff we have. Actually quite a lot. Oh yeah, my brother added in abyssal fragments. I think he set up a spawner or something. Um, that magnet does not work. He set up like a spawner somewhere, I think, down in the. Whoops, I forgot. Oh, this also has the ender inhibitors. He set up a spawner for some kind of mob that drops abyssal fragments, as we need them for the rift attenuation crystals and the abyssal pearls. We also over at least over here. Yes, over here. I actually put a lot of stuff on passive. Specifically, we have pretty much most of the Ori tech progression done at this stage. We have Duratanium, which is their high tier alloy. We have their processor unit, the advanced computing engine, the super AI chip, and the Heisenberg compensator. All of these are now on passive, which we would need for all this stuff. My brother went and farmed a bunch of Warden for some DML stuff, so now we have Echo Shards on passive as well. Teleportation cores, this step itself isn't on passive, but we have all of the mechanism alloys on passive. So we can just, craft a stack or something at a time, and it won't be a problem at all. So yeah, then we'll be able to craft all this other good stuff here. We'll have to probably put a few more of these things on passive as well, but we might. I'm not really sure about how. Oh yes, you're gonna have to farm rift crystals, but there's not too much more we're gonna have to do, I think. Uh, oh, this is replicatable as well. That's very interesting. I haven't looked at this stage yet. Ender crystal. Uh, I mean, that's not too bad. Um, so we're pretty close to being done. Over here we have the extended AE as well. We have Antero ingots, Sky Steel, Sky Bronze, the various singularities. We have quantum infusion units over here, all the various new processors that they add as well, which is concurrent quantum and spatial. You need spatial for some of the high tier drives, like the mega drives and stuff. So all this stuff is done as well. I Anything else? Not really. Like I said, there really hasn't been, at least I haven't been able to get on and do a whole lot of stuff, unfortunately. Like I said, between my wrist injury and I was kind of sick for I was a little bit sick for a day or so. It was really weird. Um, I'm more or less back to 100%. I don't know. It depends. Every now and then I feel great, and every now and then I feel bad. Um, oh, we also just ended up turning off the, uh, I won't call it ore processing, but resource, the sluices, way how we get resources. It's still, fine because we're still technically smelting all of the ore that we had before. We ran out of diamonds and emerald clusters, so we're not really making any more of those. But if for some reason we actually need more diamonds or emeralds, we can just grow them through mystical agriculture. For now, we're just smelting down the rest of the stuff that we farmed up, so I'm not really all that concerned about it. So yeah, we're seeing the towards the end of the pack here, which is kind of surprising how fast it came up on us. But I always knew at a certain point that it really wasn't going to be that long, especially once a lot of it got done and just realizing how short it was. Like, we're gonna make the rift attenuation crystal, and then each crystal only buys 5 minutes. I don't know if it stacks yet, but even then, 5 minutes is still quite a while with all the stuff that we have. So it's possible that between the two of us, we actually can make 5 minutes work and we'll just win or something. I don't know. This stuff also might mind. Oh yes, we're gonna need to set up Prometheum as well. That's the one reason why we want overcharged crystals on passive is for Prometheum, I should say. Um, so this will not be, that won't be too bad either. Enhanced ender ingots. Yeah, none of this stuff is that bad either. That's all DML crap. More teleportation cores. Oh, actually. Enhanced. Some of this stuff actually might be a little bit annoying going forward, at least in terms of bulk stuff. But maybe not. I don't know. But still, the end of the pack is in sight. We have the lower tier crystals on passive. We're just short of being on passive soon, which will be fun. And then we'll be able to start really blitzing through stuff. So there's not really too much more to do. So I imagine next week or the week after will be the last pack. After that, it'll be Star Tech. I'm really happy to play some more Grig Tech. I kind of wanna. I'm getting the itch again, which is never a good thing, but also a great thing. Um, Star Tech should be fun. That'll be exciting to play. I am sorry this video is a little bit late. I was having some strange issues with Feed the Beast. Just all of my modern packs just kept crashing on launch, and the way I fixed it was by setting the packs to use Java 17, which it didn't want to use, which immediately caused a crash, and then setting it back to 21, which it did want to use, which fixed it. Why it was doing that to begin with, I don't know. Why that fixed it, I also don't know. But it did. So fuck it. I guess it works now. Um, but yeah, I know this video is a little bit shorter. This week's a little bit shorter, but like I said, I didn't really get a whole lot done. A whole lot of stuff done. My brother did, which is very nice on him. He got a lot of work done. This ring looks fantastic, by the way. Just like look at that. We're just gonna marvel at it for a little bit. Look how good that looks. That's fantastic. I love it. It's great. Yeah, we'll have to build, the next particle ring and stuff. Can't see shit while I'm underwater. I'll have to build the next level of particle ring and then set that stuff on automated for on demand. And then that'll be another one of the last big things we'll have to do. And we'll probably have to batch a bunch of stuff for occultism. And that might be one of the things we'll have to do. We'll have to batch that stuff. This stuff isn't too bad. We're going to be setting up Prometheum on passive anyway. Time Crystal is just farming in the Rift. This is a single stage on, of Ender IO. This is 2 stages of Ender crafting, which is either batchable or, on-demandable. I don't know. We'll have to figure out how to do that, but none of this stuff is particularly expensive. I think the worst part of it is going to be, the Adrift Essence. This is going to be a little bit annoying because it's not tech stuff, so I don't know how easy that'll be to automate. Book of Binding Afrit. Dictionary of Spirits. Weird. I don't know. Book of Binding. I don't know how bad that's going to be. I don't know anything about occultism. I do know we have some occultism stuff set up, though. Up in the uh, Mage Tower. Staff of Traveling, how I love you. I think it's this stuff over here. No, this is ours. I don't know. Uh, is this occultism? Yes. Neat. So, that'll be something new to do, which will be cool. But yeah, so that's probably all I've got for today. Unfortunately, like I said, I know this is a little bit shorter, but it is what it is. That's just how it. That's them the breaks. Um, I'm yeah, I'm still maybe I'm not back to 100% as I thought I was. I'm a little bit rambly today, guys. I'm sorry. Uh, well, I guess if you're here if you're still watching, then by now or you probably like this. So whatever, I guess maybe I don't apologize. Oh, there's actually one thing I do want to note that I'm really mad about that I can't fix. Is I fucked up when I built the base and it's one side is off. See over here between so we have, we have the inner ring, a 3-block gap, the big pads or whatever, and then we have the pathway and then 2 smaller shacks, right? And there's no gap. On this side, we have, the inner ring, 3-block gap, then the normal 3-block gap between the shack, and then we have another 3-block gap between the shack and the path. And this was a mistake. However, I don't think I can fix this. I don't know if this is something that's fixable. Oh, well, I might have to tear this out and then move that. So maybe it is fixable. Turns out if I have to move the Oritech one at all, then that's not fixable. But maybe if I'm willing to sit down and fix it before it gets worse, I can. But I don't know. But it is offset, which is really annoying. We'll have to see if I actually care enough to fix it, because I don't know if I do. As much as I like this base and I like this palette, I am just really not happy with this pack as much as other packs. This base is a lot more scuffed than the last one, though. To be fair, it's really hard to top antimatter chemistry base. That was peak. That was so good. I loved that one. Airdrop landed. I wonder where it landed. It's only 120 blocks away, so it can't be that large. Can't be that far away. Their loot gets better and better as you go on. Maybe my brother already got it. I don't know. Huh. This might be it. Yes. Some of the loot in here is insane, but it looks like he picked it all up already. Like, you get, you can get time crystals from the airdrops. You get, mega cells and stuff. We actually have a bunch of these creative compressed iron blocks. And they're just creative temperature sources for pneumatic craft, which is really funny. We have so many of them. We also have a bunch of awakened tools. Like, look at all of this stuff we have. We have 9 awakened paxels, 12 shovels, 14 swords, 16 axes, 18 hoes. And we also have a bunch of turbo fuel, and we get like tanks and stuff. Uh, 9 full 64 bucket tanks worth of turbo fuel, which is like not that great because we have infinite crude oil. So, um, oh yeah, I just set up some refiners over here, some refineries for Oritech, which are it's neat. Oritech's pretty cool. I was ragging on it a little bit, um, but I don't think it deserves as much hatred as I was giving it. It's pretty cool. Anyway, um, I've rambled on for nothing for long enough, too long, really. So I hope you guys have had a good week. Mine's been solidly mid, considering I had a wrist injury for a couple of days. I am gonna have to, spend more time learning how to retype on this brand new keyboard, which will be interesting. I've been told from what it made out to be, it was like one of the best ergo keyboards ever made, and it feels pretty neat. So we'll have to see how I like it in the end. I have a couple of weeks before I have to make a decision on whether I want to keep it or return it for a full refund. So that's why I'm going to be kind of focusing on learning how to retype. So I hope you guys have had a good week, and I hope you guys have a good upcoming week, and I will see you all again next week.